I've gone ahead and already loosened the bolts just to try and save on a bit of time, and taking the wheel off, put a stand under for safety and so forth. Now, a lot of times when doing brakes, I find that a lot of time you can just bring the caliper up. You don't really need to take it all the way off. I'm going to see if this one is like that as well. Swing this up like that, yeah, and see, I can work on the brake pads and everything right now. Easy peasy stuff, you know. Now these pads are pretty good, but they're not worn evenly. Maybe something to do with the pistons, but the rotor itself is nice and smooth, feels okay. Okay, well, that'll explain a lot. This slip pin was in there so tight, the rust has gotten to it, and you wonder why the brake pads were braking wrong, and the brake pads are worn unevenly, and the bottom one is in there so tight that this might take a bit to work. I can't even move that bottom one. I have to work at it. She's really seized in there. I didn't expect it to be so involved, because you can see that took me probably half an hour to get that out, just working at it. Right, for the bottom one, what I've done there is just pulled that rubber back, fold it over it on itself. You can see that there. Get some penetrating liquid in there. I'm going to have to work at this until it comes out. I need to grease them up. Well, I tried to use a persuasion bar. It's 17mm in case you're wondering, but I can see it's all gunked up in there, so it's definitely rusted solid in there. I just can't turn that with anything, so I'm going to apply heat to that. Hopefully if I get a bit of heat to it, it'll break down any rust inside and we'll get that moving. Don't want to cook the pads, but I've ripped that boot off. Well, not ripped it off, I was able to slide it off without damaging it, and we'll get that out of the way as well. So I'm going to apply heat to that now. Well, I guess this is turning into a more involved video, something that should have been half an hour job to do both sides, because they weren't never treated properly. I need to get this pin out somehow, and I don't want to heat up the caliper mount where it is, because I don't want to damage the rotor. So I'm going to have to take the mount out, heat up this area. So they use the method of heat, you know, heat that area, expand it, hopefully break it loose the other way, because heating up that part there, sometimes it works, but it does make the bolt or the slip pin bigger, so it's kind of like working in reverse to what I want it to do. So I need to heat up the mount. Alright, now I got this mount off. I had to use the longest breaker bar I've got to be able to crack these bolts. They're on so tight, I don't know if they rust it in or just pull it on massively tight as during the, just wondering if there's any Loctite on there, if somebody was trying to be a pain in the butt. This is a good example though, when you go to a mechanic and say, oh yeah, it's going to take half an hour to do the front brakes, ends up taking 3 hours, because some things just don't want to play. So now I've got that out, I can do it away from the car. Now I've taken the boot off so I can get access into these here. So this side here, got to get the boot off as well. But you can just, it's a bit hard to do it while holding the camera, but I'll just get that peeled back. See, just like that there. And now I can just take them off. Don't want to damage it. Okay. Now I'm going to get some acetone and transmission mix onto these to let it have a soak. try and work it out, and if that doesn't work, then I'll heat it up and try that. The acetone trick has worked on 2 of the pins. So I've got 3 pins here now. One I took out yesterday, you saw that. This last one here I'm going to have to apply heat to, but basically what I've done is put a nut and washer to get the space I need on there, because I still want as much thread into there as possible, and then try and take it out like that. But this one just doesn't want to move, so I'm going to have to apply heat and work at it. I can't hold the camera and do all this at the same time, so I can't show you the process. I can only tell you about it. Old mate's helped me out with cleaning the pins. Now these pins here has got me stumped because they're of a different type. You look at the replacements have only got that much end on them, same shape, but I'd rather reuse these because you got the longer, well, you could something you could get a proper spanner onto. They can go either way. So they both go the same distance, same width. Why does one have a rubber end on it, the other one doesn't? And then I tagged it of which one was the hardest to get out, which was the rubber. There, so I've tagged it on both of them. So that's the side that this one goes into. But why? Clearly there's something in there still in that one, but it's coming out in bits. This is what's supposed to come out. Coming out of this one. So I'm going to have a look at the workshop, or see if I can find a workshop manual. So yes, see, all the way to the end, all the way to the end, all the way to the end. I really don't understand, if the rubber end on it is important, why wouldn't you do it to all 4? Or if it's not important, why wouldn't you just have all 4 without it? That, I don't know if I'm going to find out in the workshop manual either. But I'll see if I can find a bit of information on it. And, you know, I'll do that on the computer in a minute. And try and work out what's going on there. I might end up just putting it back in without the rubber altogether. Okay, so it's been a week since I did the getting the slip pins out, and it's just been pouring out of rain. I've had obligations, work and so forth. You know, a job that should have only taken about half an hour to an hour has turned into a project. So now that I'm at this point here, the pins are clean. I'm going to get some brake cleaner, go with the wire brush, give these a good cleaning up. It's a bit rusty in there, so give that a good clean out. Yeah, in and out quite easy now. Get these rubber boots back on. Just using bearing grease for this job. If this had been done correctly the first time, or the last time before I got it, I could have shown a proper job on this. So I got to spin around because there's no actual groove. I'll show on the other one. There's no actual groove for the grease to slide up and down inside. So, and if you try to push it in, there's a lot of air in there. It's just going to work like a tire pump. It's going to push all the grease back out. I'm going to put a little bit extra. We don't want to push all the grease back out. I'm just going to round the tip first so I can work it in. You can actually hear the air pushing past it as you go down. Like this side here, I guess without the rubber, that actually is going to allow a bit of grease to stay in the ends, which is a good thing. But you'd think there'd be a groove somewhere to allow grease to slide up and down, or a few rings on it or something that's going to allow the grease to stay contained instead of, you know, eventually getting contaminated and pushing out. It is what it is, but I think they could have thought up something a little bit better. I should have put the boot on first, which I will. I pushed it intentionally then so you could hear the air pop. Hopefully you did. See that? It's pushing back against me. Got airlock in there. So now we've got the... That's going to work out, should now. Beauty. And put this back together. Now I'll show you something in a minute that put it the right way around, that I would have shown on removing the pads, or the calipers rather, had it not been a problem. Okay, I'll get them two tightened up and we'll get to the caliper and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Very important step not to forget these. You will hear a clunking in the front end if you do. Personal preference, I like to put the back on first before the front. Beauty. Now this part here, actually I think you can probably see it. See the slip pin is turning at the same time? Now, ideally, what you wanted to do is put a 17mm on there first. When taking them off, when these got loose, that slip pin should have moved as well. Then you get a spanner onto that to take the bolts out. I'll get the top bolt in first. On. Another bright spark, showing you how that bolt slips and everything there, and I forget to take the bolt back out. I put the caliper on. Yeah. 17 and 13. Grease lid back on. So we've taken them off. You should have been doing this. Going to stay in place now that the caliper's there. That's good. Now just a little bit of a nip up. Old spanner trick. That's it. And that's done. So this tool here on a dual piston setup didn't work out quite so well, and I think it's more to the point of it just didn't get down far enough, so there was too much leverage pressing against the bottom here and it wasn't close enough to the top there, so that's ended up like that. Now it did do the job for the other side, and it did bend this a little bit, but I wasn't too concerned. But this side here, I just couldn't press it in. So I'm going back to an old tool that I made ages ago for working on a Toyota. But I got criticised for making this, telling me that, you know, that's just a waste of time to use G clamp or C clamp, whichever country you're in. And you know, so I've just never mentioned this tool again. I just kind of like just made videos without this. But the reason why I'm including it now is because I've gone back to this for this particular job, and this is a single piston one that I made ages ago as well. So obviously if it's a single piston, the arches in the middle, that would go there. Using a bit of stainless steel because I couldn't find the original plate I had for here. You can see there's holes here. That's the actual brake pad, and if those holes, if one of those bolts lined up into that accidentally, you'd be digging into the old brake pad. So that's why I use a bit of steel there. And you know what, bugger it, it works. So Add 2 fidget spanners, it'll make it a little bit easier, but it's alright. It's going in real simple, real easy. This is actually a lot easier than the tool I bought. And that's it. Easy as that. I made this probably 10 years ago. Like I said, when this is in, it's just not going down far enough. So that's why we got that leverage. On the single pistons, this worked great. But on the dual piston, there was just too much, I guess, on 2 pistons to push that force back. Ended up bending this, but I'll straighten it out, and I might even try and better this tool. Might even trim it down so it gets down deeper into, well, basically should get down this deep here, where this bolt could sit just above there. That would be much better for doing this job. And I'll tell you what, I guesstimated this spot on, so the fluid level is coming up to there, and I bring it down to here on the brake bleed, knowing that I was going to do the pads at some point, and that after doing the pads I was probably going to get a little bit of a lift on that, you know, pushing the pistons back in. It actually went up to just above the line, but after starting the car, pumping the brakes a few times, it's come back down. But watching the fluid reservoir is important, because if that's been topped up, like somebody's like, it's gotten low and somebody's topping it up without changing the brake pads, then when you change the brake pads, that's going to push past the lid and it's going to just go all over the engine there. You're going to get smoke from the exhaust, probably paint will lift up from the fluid sitting on the paint. So you just want to, when doing brake pads, always check that the reservoir is not overfilling, and if it does happen to overfill when pressing the pistons in, just give the area a degrease before continuing. So this tool here on a single piston, on a dual piston, sorry, then it'd be, so this tool here on a single, fuck me. But this, watching the, that'll be the reason why the brakes are so dodgy.